Welcome back to the Dashing Investor YouTube channel, where we're all about positivity and finding the best ways to make the most money as a DoorDash driver. So yeah, today guys, we're going to cover a little bit something different. We do try to bring you the good, the bad, and the ugly about DoorDash, and most of the time we're always talking about all the good things about DoorDash and all the great benefits, because it is a great side hustle and can even be a great full-time job. But today we're going to cover some negative factors about DoorDash, and especially if you're thinking about becoming a DoorDash driver. This is some of the things you might want to think about. Like I said, it's a lot of great benefits out there, but it's a few negatives out here too. So number one, and this can even go back to new DoorDash drivers and veteran DoorDash drivers, and this is DoorDash has changed their algorithm. We know the term cherry picking, where you always are just looking for the very best offers, that $2, $3, $4, $5 per mile offers, and you just keep hitting that decline until you find those type orders. Well, DoorDash has gotten their algorithm together. A couple of years ago, you could have a 4 and 5% acceptance rate and still get great orders. Now, if you go under that 70% acceptance rate, those terrible orders definitely do increase. So these days, you want to stay above that 70%, especially if you do not multi-app. If DoorDash is the only app that you use to make extra money, or even as a full-time job, you definitely want to stay at least that 70% acceptance rate or more. And with the new tier program, you definitely want to be as high as possible. I do recommend 87 to 93% acceptance rate. That way you will stay ahead of those dashers that are that 70 to 85 acceptance rate, but at the same time staying around that 92, 93%, you're giving yourself room to decline those horrible orders. Now, I know in my market, that 87 to 93%, I really don't see that many horrible offers. Now, of course, it don't matter how high your acceptance rate is, you're going to see some bad offers here and there come through. That's just the nature of the beast with being a DoorDash driver. You're going to see some offers like that. So that's why I say between that 87 and 93%, that gives you room to decline those horrible offers you may see. But also staying at that 87, you're staying ahead of other dashers in your city with lower AR, so you will receive the bulk of the better orders. So yeah, like I said, guys, that 69% and below, they're really seeing all the horrible orders. Now, every once in a while, they may get lucky because all of us with the high acceptance rates are already on orders, and a great order, even maybe a cadence order, may trickle down to them, but that's not happening on a regular basis. That's just like they're getting really lucky to get those type orders. Like I said, DoorDash has really tightened up and sharpened their algorithm, so cherry picking is pretty much going away with the dinosaurs. And I'm pretty sure as we move along in the next year, they're only going to get tighter with that. So these days, yeah, if you're a veteran DoorDash driver, and you're not multi-apping, yeah, it's just something you might want to think about. You might want to think about raising that acceptance rate so you can improve those offers you're getting. And if you're a new person, just a word of advice: you're going to watch all these YouTube channels, and some going to be talking about cherry picking and all of this. And quite frankly, a lot of those videos are old, 2, 3, even 4, 5 years old when cherry picking was working. So just make sure when you watch videos like that, see when that video was made, because lots of times YouTube will serve you this old content that just does not work with DoorDash anymore. You want to make sure you keep that acceptance rate 70% or above. Even better, stay between that 87 to 93% to give you the best chance of getting the best offer. So yeah, that's just one negative thing about DoorDash now. Cherry picking no longer work. And again, if you're a new Dash out there, make sure you check the year on that video you're watching if they're talking about cherry picking really works, because it's going to the wayside here in 2024 with all the new algorithm changes they're making. So number 2 thing you might want to think about, and this is a veteran dasher or a new dasher, there's just a lot more dashers out here now. Again, 3 or 4 years ago, even before, a lot less dashers mean, hey, it's a lot more good orders to go around to everyone. And that worked great hand in hand with cherry picking. You could do that. Well, now these days, it's a lot more dashers out there. There's a lot more markets getting saturated. I still got a pretty decent market. But I've talked to other dashers that's in my market that has been doing this for 3 and 4 years. And yes, they used to make a lot more money because the market wasn't as saturated. You got some that are overly saturated. Some are just becoming saturated. And like say, my market used to even be better than it is now. So that's just something you want to think about before you become a DoorDash driver, especially if you're thinking about becoming full-time. I think DoorDash is great for a side hustle if you got a full-time job or even a full-time business and you want to make some extra money on the side. Even if your market is super saturated, if you're just trying to make extra money, I think it's great for that, even in an overly saturated market. But if you're trying to do this full-time, before you quit that job, just test in your market to see what kind of market that you have. If you feel like you can, in that same 40 hours, make the same money as your full-time job as when you test DoorDash, and if you make the same amount of money, hey, maybe go for it. But maybe you may find out, well, hey man, I'm coming nowhere near what I make on my full-time job. You might just want to keep it as a side hustle to make extra money here and there for different things. So yeah, it's just, hey, it's just a lot more dashers out here. So that's number 2 reason you might not want to become a DoorDash driver here in 2024. But again, before you make that decision, test it, see what kind of market. Hey, and believe it or not, there's some great markets out there where people are making really great money. Hey, you may be in that market. So you won't know it until you test it to see what kind of market. But that is number 2. DoorDash is a lot more saturated now, and there's a lot more dashers on the road. So number 3 biggie that you want to think about is the wear and tear on your car. You know, if you have a job that you're going to now, you may drive to work and then your car's sitting out in the parking lot. But in this business, you're definitely going to have a lot more oil changes. Instead of having maybe 1 or 2 oil changes a year, you're going to have 3, 4, maybe 5 oil changes a year. Your tires are going to wear down. Everything on your car is going to wear down a lot faster. So that's definitely a big negative you want to think about before becoming a DoorDash driver, or maybe even continue to be a DoorDash driver. And at that point, you need to see how much money you're making to see if it's worth the wear and tear on your car. Like I said, you have some really great markets out here making some really good money, and you have some decent markets like mine that it's pretty decent. It makes sense. Even with the extra wear and tear on my car. But then you have some that are super oversaturated, and you know, the money is not that great, and it's really just, DoorDash is just good for a side hustle. So you just got to weigh the cost, see how much you're going to be driving your car that year, how much you're making. But yeah, that's another big thing you need to think about, is the wear and tear on your car. It takes time to, you get to put your miles in and all that help, but still you need to weigh the cost of that wear and tear on your car versus to what you're actually making from DoorDash and just see if it makes sense for you. We're all in different situations. One situation may make sense for someone. It might not make sense for the next person. Just so on an individual basis, just total up that cost of the wear and tear in your car and what you're making in your town and just see if it makes sense. Just see if it makes sense for you. So another big one is rising fuel cost. That's huge. Again, we gotta put the gas in our own cars. That's a big thing we have to think about is our rising fuel cost. That's money out of our pocket. That's money out. That's profits out of every order. So that's, gas prices are up and down. I don't know how much, sometimes they'll pull back. I don't know what they will ever get back to, or they will kind of just stay at the level they are at now. But that's definitely something, if you're a new, DoorDash driver, if you're thinking about it, or even if you're a veteran DoorDash driver, fuel costs is a big thing we have to think about, because that's, there's no way around it. Your car have to have fuel, and the more fuel you use, it's going to cut out of our daily profits. So that's just something you want to think about. That's a little bit different than you going to a job, then your car is just parked in the parking lot. So yeah, guys, this is another big one. Number 5, inconsistent earnings. So you have a regular job. You're going to, especially if you're on salary, you're going to make this amount every week. DoorDash is up and down. You may have a great day one day and the next day not so great. And the next day may even be terrible, depending on what time of the month it is, what day of the week it may be, what time of the day. It's just so many factors. So yeah, just inconsistent earnings. Best way to handle that is to have a monthly goal, and then you just know what you need to make at the end of the month, and then you just put in that work to try to make sure you hit that goal. You may have some great days, you may have some bad days, but then you can kind of adjust your work hours to make sure at the end of the month you have reached that goal, because earnings are inconsistent. You do not know what you're going to make when you turn on that app for the day. So yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one you want to think about, especially if you're just starting to think about becoming a DoorDash driver, and especially if you're going to be a full-time DoorDash driver. So now, number 6, and this is a biggie. This is a biggie too, and this is safety issues. We hear a lot in the news about gig workers, being shot, robbed, even killed. And then, like me, I sprained my ankle in the dark, tripped over something and sprained my ankle. And then I was out of work for like 6 days. So just safety issues, something you want to think about. You go to your job now, hey, you're in the comfort of that office or wherever you happen to be working, and it's going to probably be a little bit safer environment than being out here in the public. You're by yourself. You don't know what kind of mind frame the customer is in. So yeah, it's just safety issues, something you want to think about, especially if you're going to work at night. It only get that much more dangerous at night. And DoorDash may send you to maybe a rougher neighborhood, or hey, it don't even have to be a rougher neighborhood. It could be a great neighborhood. You never know who's but on the other side of that door and what they're thinking. So, and again, like I say, we drive our cars a lot more. So, that ups the chances in getting into a car wreck. Again, like me, in the dark, I tripped over something, sprained my ankle. So yeah, it's just all kinds of different safety issues you want to think about. And if you're okay with that, hey, DoorDash may be for you. If the whole list I named today, if you have no problem with any of those issues, DoorDash may be the gig for you. But again, only you can make that decision for yourself. But yeah, guys, DoorDash has a lot of great benefits, but these are some of the negatives you want to think about here in 2024 if you're thinking about becoming a DoorDash driver or continuing to be a DoorDash driver. But as always, guys, it's been fun hanging out with you guys. I appreciate all you guys watching. I want y'all to stay positive out there. I want you to stay on your dreams. I want you to stay consistent on working on them goals. Don't let nobody step in your way reaching those goals. Don't you let yourself stop yourself from reaching those goals. And as always, guys, I want y'all to be safe out there and keep getting this money.